1-2-1-2. Well, Mark, safe passage through to the third round of the Challenge Cup. Yeah. Just start for us by reflecting on the win over Keithley, and I guess what pleased you most about that performance?
Yeah, I thought it was a very professional display from ourselves. We spoke all week about keeping our standard where it needed to be and not getting dragged into anything else. I know Keithley had a few injuries and things like that, so we just focused on ourselves. And I think the most pleasing aspects were how we went about as business, especially that first half. I thought as defensive intent and application were outstanding. I think 34-0 at half time, so we're really pleased with that. A couple of areas that we can look at fixing up for, but overall I thought it was a very clinical and professional display from our lads.
And 6 unanswered tries in the first half kind of put the game out of sight by the break, but how impressed were you with the relentless nature of your side as well, the fact that even though when you were up you didn't take the foot off the gas, you kept going?
Yeah, exactly that. That's exactly what we're after. We always speak about keeping the foot on the throat and being ruthless, and I certainly thought we did that on Sunday. Yeah, overall, as I said, there were some promising signs, but we're definitely not going to fall in love with yourself over it. We know it's going to be a completely different challenge come Friday night, and again, we'll get after it as best we can.
Lots of different try scorers on Sunday, but I wanted to pick out a few. Obviously, braces for Jesse D, for Liam Harris, for Jack Teamby, and also for Ollie Field as well. Especially for Ollie, really seemed to have taken the opportunity that you gave him to play in that back row.
Yeah, I thought he were excellent. I thought he did a lot of unselfish efforts, working hard for a mark and making sure he was getting involved in tackles that, maybe he wouldn't have got involved in last year. So that's a credit to how he's gone about his business in pre-season. But as I said last week after the game, the most pleasing thing you can have as a coach is quality players, vying for positions. So we've got Jesse, we've got Connor, we've got Ollie, we've got young Harvey Reynolds, all vying for them back row spots, and it only brings out the best in people, doesn't it?
Yeah. Obviously, Miles Harrison playing on the wing, but he took on the kicking duties, 10 conversions and a try, so 24 points for him. A good day at the office. Yeah. How impressed were you with him for such a young lad to take on that responsibility?
Yeah, I'd have been even more impressed if he'd have got 8 out of 8 or 10 out of 10 on his kicks. So he's got a great boot on him. That'll be an handy addition, especially if Dags isn't fit. I thought last year when Will were out, obviously we let some points down, we go kicking. I know a couple of lads put their hand up, but Miles seems a more natural replacement there. Again, he's a young lad finding his way. It's really important, we don't put too much pressure on him. We just let him get his games under his belt. He's going to have some good games, he's going to learn some tough lessons along the way, and the main thing is that we offer him that support and keep a level head on him. But I think once he gets that self-confidence in himself at this level, he can go anywhere he wants. It's just letting time take its course and get that experience.
I know you're having a bit of a joke when you talk about the ones that he did leave out there, the ones that he missed. First thing he said to us in the post-match actually was that he'd missed those 3, and that was what was playing on his mind. So it clearly shows he's got that sort of elite mindset mentality, and that must be pleasing to hear for you as well.
Yeah, of course it is. Obviously I were on a bit of a joke there because I'd spoke with him, but naturally everyone's chasing perfection out there. You're never going to get it, but you're aspiring to it. So it was pleasing to hear Miles how he reflects on the game himself, standards he sets for himself, standards that we set for him. So I think overall the whole squad's like that. If you speak to any player in that squad, they've got high standards for themselves, and we, as I said, we won't be getting carried away. We'll be staying nice and grounded and making sure that we back it up with another good performance come Friday night.
Just looking at your team news for Friday night, Will Dagger, as we spoke about last week, missed the match due to the concussion protocols. Will he be available for Friday?
Yes, as far as I'm aware, he's passed all his assessments, so as long as there's no last minute hiccup on tomorrow's session, he'll be back available. I think the only person that we've got a doubt on at the moment is probably Joe Law. He won't be playing because we've not named him in the 21-man squad. He just caught a bit of an heavy impact. That's this 5-day turnaround's come round a little bit too soon for him. So Joe Law, he won't be in the squad.
And I know we mentioned after the game, Levi Edwards, you'd brought him off as a precaution. Nothing untoward there?
No, I think he's just got a bit of a sore knee, as you'd expect after a bit of time out. So it's just going to be a case of managing Levi. But yeah, with how things are looking at the moment, I can't envision him not playing on Friday.
We know you've got 3 players out at the moment with those hamstring injuries.
Yeah.
Is there any update on the road back for Brad Ward yet? He had a scan in the last few
Yeah, it was worse than what we thought, so he's, probably 2-3 months. It's, believe it or not, he had the least amount of symptoms, and his were probably the worst out of the lot, so it shows you the importance of medically trained professional diagnosing it and not me. So, I feel for him, but he'll come back stronger for it. As I say, it'll be a good boost for us when he's back fit, just like the other lads. So we'll get an arm around him, show him some support. We'll work hard in his rehab, and be back stronger than ever.
You mentioned the competition for places, and we've spoken about Ollie Field and how he's done coming in and playing in that back row. Connor Bailey didn't make the squad, the 17 for Keithley. Does he come back into your thoughts, or has Ollie done enough to stake a claim to keep the shirt? Or
Connor will be in my ear every single day now, asking that, and that's what you want as a coach. So as I said, they're both training well. There's Jesse D as well. There's young Harvey, and I've always said I'll reward performances, and I'll reward performances in training. So we'll see what Friday brings.
So in terms of Hull KR on Friday, you've obviously faced them in pre-season. We've talked about the Amsterdam tour, but I'm guessing you're expecting a very, very different side and plenty of changes from the Super League side. Yeah,
I haven't got a crystal ball, but I think the only player that'll probably play from that Amsterdam challenge for KR will probably be Kalepi, and I think no one else will be in their team, so it shows you the depth of their squad. But listen, we're looking forward to it. We're not really focusing on OKR, not in a disrespectful way. It's just we're focusing on us. We're in literally a second competitive game of the year. We need to focus on getting our game where it needs to be. It's always hard at this time of year because you don't really preview a team, because you've got no footage to back them up, especially with us being KR's first game of the year. It'd be all right showing us clips. We can look at the shapes and structure, but it's a completely different set of cattle that's going to be executing that. So, it's a challenge we're looking forward to as a group. We've got high standards, and we're not idiots at the same time. We know that we're going to be massive underdogs, but it's something we're relishing, and we're going to give it everything we've got.
I understand it's set to be a record crowd here, potentially tipping about 5,000 here at the LNER. How exciting is it to bring a Super League club here to York? Because I know you have aspirations to be playing Super League sides week in, week out here.
Yeah, I think it's great, and I think KR always travel really well, don't they? And it's pleasing to see that the city of York's getting behind us. I think it'll be a cracking atmosphere in here. You've seen how much noise the Knights fans make week in, week out when we play here. So it'll be really, it should be a real good atmosphere, and hopefully we can put in a performance that they're proud of.
And I know you're good friends off the pitch with Willie Peters.
Yeah.
How often are you in touch? What's the conversation been like between you of late?
We won't really speak as much this week, but I speak to Willie most weeks. Just really get on well with him and click when he first came over. I think he's a really good coach. I think what they're doing at KR is fantastic. You'd envision them to be there or thereabouts again next year, wouldn't you? I think the challenge for the teams in Super League at the moment is obviously catching Wigan and surpassing it. So I know Willie's signed really well. If you look at some of the signings that's come in for KR this year, they've got some real strength and depth to what they're doing, and I'm sure they'll be working on certain aspects of the game that they needed to improve after analysing last year. So I think he's a fantastic coach, good person, and I'm looking forward to locking arms with him again on Friday.
And just a word on Mikey Lewis coming back to the club, obviously former Man of Steel, former York City Knights as well. What's that going to be like for you going up against a player like that, and a player I know that you've watched as a neutral as well?
Yeah, I think he's an excellent player. As I say, if I wasn't coaching against him, I love watching him play. I think over the last 10 years in the sport, how can I word it? I'd probably say that players haven't probably been given as much licence to play, and it's pleasing to see players such as, Mikey, Bevan French, guys like that that can just get fans on the edge of the seat because no one knows what's going to happen with them. So really pleased to see him back in the York Stadium, and hopefully we'll have too good a game on Friday night. But he's as a player, you want to be playing against the best players, and as a coach, you want to be coaching against the best players. So, as I say, he's the sort of player that gets fans coming into stadiums to watch, and it's also a great chance for our players to showcase how good they are against, you know, one of the current best players in the game.
Yeah. Just finally, in terms of the kicking game, I know that was so important when you were going up against the big sides last year, the Wakefields, that you ended up running really close when you got to the tail end of the season and the playoffs.
Yeah.
Do you think the kicking game is going to be a key part of the game coming into hold KR?
Yeah, I think it always is. I think you definitely can't be wasteful, especially with their back three. You know, if you look at Evans, he's an handful, isn't he? If you don't get your kick chase right, then they've got Burgess on one wing, and I think Davis is an excellent signing for them. So, yeah, we'll be doing a bit of homework on that. But as I say, in terms of your kicking plan, yeah, all three of them's got their own strengths, haven't they, and weaknesses. So, as I said, we'll be focusing more on our systems and where we need to improve. And you know, at this stage of the year, I think that's the most important thing.
And I guess you've certainly got plenty of kicking options, be it Liam Harris, be it Will Dagger kicking from fullback, whether it's, you know, as we mentioned last week, Paul McShane as well. You've got plenty of options for your kicking game this year. Yeah,
I think getting Macca in at 9, you know, that can do them kicks out of 9 is a great addition to us. And as you said, we're lucky that, I suppose, you've got Liam and Atta that are both naturally right and left foot kickers. You've got Dags at fullback that can cover in. You've now got Macca at 9. You know, I know I'll say Jesse's sat in here, but Jesse fancies himself with an attacking kick here and there. Sam Cook can put a good toe in. So yeah, we've got quite a few. I think Kieran Buchanan put a nice little kick in, you know, off a 2-pass shift last week. So yeah, we're getting there with it, and it's pleasing to see the lads starting to get that cohesiveness about themselves, and you know, putting little pet players on like that. For me, that's what rugby's all about. You know, I like players that express themselves. You know, I'm not saying be reckless with it, but definitely be creative with it. And yeah, it's an area that we could massively improve on from last year.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi Mark.
Hi, Mark.
As far as the first competitive outing of the season goes, how impressed were you with the way that your players sort of applied themselves against Keithley?
Yeah, that was the most pleasing aspect. You know, you know, it's an age-old saying, isn't it? You can only play what's in front of you. You know, Keithley had a few injuries. You know, I think they had quite a few of their first-choice players missing, and it was really important that we kept a standard where we wanted it to be. So really pleased with how we applied ourselves. But as I've just said there, we're also, you know, we're not going to get carried away. We'll stay nice and honest. We know it's going to be a completely different kettle of fish come Friday night, and we need to make sure we're at our best.
And with regards to your teammates as well, O'Neill and Hudson, how are they sort of recovering from their hamstring injuries?
Yeah, they'll be a couple of months yet. Both really going well in rehab, but yeah, there's no point even chatting to them till you know, March, April time is probably when you're going to see them at earliest.
That win against Keithley as well obviously brought this match against Hull KR. In terms of sort of the club's Super League ambitions, I know Clint was talking about it not long ago. He wants to be within that grand final conversation by 2029.
Yeah.
Is this a good opportunity for you to see how sort of ready your players are for that step up to the Super League if it comes to it?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's just a good opportunity for his current squad to play against one of the best teams in the comp. And you know, listen, we're not going out there Friday night to make the numbers up. We're going out there to give it everything we've got to get a win. Now we're not. You know, we're also not stupid. We know we're going to be massive underdogs, but we'll be giving it everything we've got to get into that next round of the cup. Like, we play to win. But yeah, I think, you know, it's an hard question to answer that, because like a club being ready for Super League now, especially with the current grading systems, it's not just what you're doing on the playing field anymore. I think if you look at what York's got available to it, is you know, it's a tourist city. You know, it's an attractive city to come to, especially for a neutral. You know, if you were playing York on a weekend in summer, you'd probably make a weekend of it. You know, we've got a lovely stadium, we've got a fantastic training base, we've obviously got a talented squad, but I don't think you can just look on whether a current team's playing well anymore and competing, because you know that's only, you know, a quarter of what goes into it now, isn't it? I think all the ingredients are there for York to make that step up, but there's obviously a lot of different variables that come with that. Super League's got to open doors up. You know, York's got to keep on improving, and naturally, if you keep on improving, you're going to be a good Super League franchise as such, are you?
And the underdog tag there as well. How much could that sort of suit your side for this fixture?
Yeah, I don't think there's any pressure on us in terms of that, but we'll put pressure on ourselves. You know, it's a game of rugby at the end of the day. It's two teams going hammer and tong for 80 minutes, and we're definitely going into that game, you know, full of self-belief that we can, you know, we can get a result. We're also not stupid. We know that most people outside our four walls aren't going to give us a chance, and so be it. But we're going to make sure we go out there and put our best foot forward. And you know, it'll be a fantastic atmosphere, fantastic occasion. And as I said, you don't go into a game wanting to be an happy loser, do you? You want to go in and give it everything you've got to win. So that's what we'll be doing.
With you having quite a young squad as well, is this potentially an opportunity for some of the more experienced heads in that group to really put their arm around the younger players and just sort of guide them their way through this sort of big match?
Yeah, there's only one way you get big match experience though, isn't there? And that's by throwing yourself in and having a crack. So, yeah, you know, personally, I think there'll be a lot of young players that are excited. You know, there's naturally going to be nerves. They never disappear. You just learn how to use them nerves to your advantage, don't you? So, as I said, I think it's just a really good occasion for everyone to get behind the club, and a good occasion for us to go out and go to battle with one of the best teams in Super League at the moment.
And last one from me, you're back at the LNI Community Stadium, first time this season. You played in the Netherlands, you played in Keithley, now you're back in York. How excited are you to be back in front of that home crowd, and especially when it's, like you already mentioned, it's going to be a record-breaking crowd as well, potentially? Yeah,
I just love the passion that the York fans bring. As I say, you know, when we're home and away, you can always hear fans really singing. So, you know, I think I'm right in saying I think there's 4,000 or 5,000 sold at the moment, so it should be a fantastic atmosphere. I think OKR travel well as well. They always bring some noise, so excuse me, it should be a really good atmosphere. And as a player, I'm sure they'll be excited to play in it.